They'll cut the chicken neck, they'll choke India's neck, they'll separate Northeast India from the rest of the country. Ever since instability began in Bangladesh, some miscreants, social media warriors, have started shouting exactly this. Even Muhammad Yunus, the so-called advisor of the interim government, he also started talking in this tone. He started distributing new map to the guests who are visiting Bangladesh, which included India's territory. They believe that if this 20 to 22 kilometer stretch in Siliguri Corridor is blocked, then Northeast India is finished. That's what they think. That is their daydream. But what they don't realize is this. This is so-called chicken's neck is no longer just a narrow land corridor. Today it has turned into India's iron fortress. Rafales are roaring here. BrahMos missiles are locked and ready. And the Trishakti core is watching without blinking. The place the world once called India's weak point, India has turned it into its most dangerous and deadliest strategic point. So, how exactly is India protecting this narrow 22-kilometer corridor? What is this Trishakti core that stands ready to take on Bangladesh and China? And what preparations has India already completed even before any war begins? We will explain everything in complete detail in this today's video. Welcome to Lookk. I am Amar Prasad. Dhaka riots, the greater conspiracy. First, let's be absolutely clear about one thing. Why are we suddenly talking about the Siliguri Corridor today? You already know the reason, friends. Our neighbor, Bangladesh, is burning. The instability that began in 2024 has not reduced even by December 2025. In fact, the situation has worsened. Friends, until recently, till last year, we considered Bangladesh as our friendly nation, our good neighbor, and we did everything to support them in every situation. But after Sheikh Hasina's exit, things started to change. And in mid-December 2025, Bangladeshi youth leader Sharif Osman Hadi was murdered. After his death, the riots in Dhaka quickly took a direct anti-India turn. Even though Usman Hadi's brother directly blamed interim government led by this Muhammad Yunus, even though attackers identified as Bangladeshi youth, the anti-India groups in Bangladesh started attacking India and started campaigns against India. False narratives are being spread that India is responsible for this killing. Controversial Greater Bangladesh map. The most shocking part is this so-called Greater Bangladesh map, which you are seeing on screen right now, is going viral online recently. This may not be an official map, but it clearly reveals the mindset of extremist groups. Not only extremist groups, including Muhammad Yunus and Bangladeshi officials, also started presenting maps to the foreign delegates and guests, which included India's territory. Their fantasy is simple and dangerous. They want to merge India's seven sister states, which are northeastern states of India, into Bangladesh. And naturally, in such a situation, everyone's eyes turn to that narrow lifeline, the Siliguri Corridor. But viewers, the picture has changed now. India is not sitting idle anymore. A 22 kilometers neck with a dragon's threat. So now let's understand what exactly is this chicken's neck business is all about. This narrow land strip is just 20 to 22 kilometers wide. It connects rest of India with the northeastern India. Nepal to the west, Bhutan to the north, and Bangladesh to the south. This corridor is sandwiched between three countries. And Bangladesh is not the only threat here. Move slightly north and you are staring at China. China doesn't directly share a border with the corridor with India here. That's true, but the Chumbi Valley between Sikkim and Bhutan and the Doklam region we all know are dangerously close to this corridor. In a war scenario, this would be China's first target. Cut this connection and India loses. That was the 1962 calculation. But today, that calculation has been completely reversed. Himalayan tigers, the Trishakti strike. Now, let's get to the real protectors. Do you know who guards this 22-kilometer corridor? It is the pride of the Indian Army, the Trishakti Corps, also known as 33 Corps. They are the true guardians of Siliguri and Northeast, not this Muhammad Yunus and his gang. Their headquarters is at Sukna in West Bengal. Friends, remember, these are not ordinary soldiers. They are called the Masters of Mountains. Why? Because they train and operate at high altitudes of 14,000 to 17,000 feet from the sea level. Dense forests, steep mountains, extreme weather conditions. Mountain warfare is their specialty. And recently, this very force conducted the Teesta field firing exercise, a month-long exercise. Teesta Prahar, T-90 Bhishma tanks, anti-tank guided missiles, helicopter attack drills. The exercise was so intense that it reportedly sent shock waves across the border. China or Bangladesh, anyone attacks this corps has the authority to respond even before clearance comes from Delhi. That is why they are called India's first line of defense. This Trishakti Corps has 3 deadly divisions. First one, 17th Mountain Division, Black Cats, silent, fast, lethal in forests. And 20th Mountain Division, called Kirpan Division. And next, 27th Mountain Division, called Striking Lions. Even the name says it all, Striking Lion. If tensions rise, no need to wait for reinforcements from Delhi. They react instantly and they crush the enemy. If the enemy comes, it's a grave. Now listen carefully. Earlier, this area was guarded mainly by the BSF, but recently, based on intelligence inputs, the Indian Army has quietly built a full-scale iron fortress around the Siliguri Corridor. By the end of 2025, especially in the last 2 months, the changes India has made here are enough to rattle any adversary. As per reports, 3 new forward garrisons have been established. 1. Lachit Borpukhan military station in Dhubri, Assam, named after the legendary Ahom warrior who defeated the Mughals. 2nd, a forward base at Kishanganj, Bihar. 3rd, at Chopra, West Bengal. Why these 3 locations? Look at the map. These are strategic entry points towards Siliguri Corridor. Before an enemy even reaches Siliguri Corridor, they'll be hit hard from these 3 directions. And there is more. Reports say a 4th base is coming up near the Bangladesh border in Mizoram. So effectively, Bangladesh will be surrounded from all the corners. And there is one more important thing to take note of. These are not defensive troops. This is the 17th Mountain Strike Corps, also known as the Brahmastra Corps. This is an offensive force, not just to stop an attack, but to enter enemy territory and strike back hard. Burnt in the sky, Rafale and S-400 shield. Everything we spoke about till now is on land, but look at the sky and it gets even scarier. At Hashimara Air Base, close to the corridor, India's most lethal fighter jet is stationed, the Rafale, from the 101 Falcon Squadron. Any aircraft from China or Bangladesh, the moment it takes off, can be neutralized within minutes. The Chinese border is just minutes away from here. That is why Rafale is called Siliguri Sky Shield. And it's not just Hashimara. From Kalaikunda Air Force Station in West Midnapore, Sukhoi Su-30 MKI jets stand ready. Remember, these jets have the capability to fire India's deadly supersonic cruise missile BrahMos. So this base played a key role even in the 1971 Bangladesh Liberation War. Here, I want to underline the word liberation. 1971 Bangladesh Liberation War. India fought it. India lost thousands of soldiers in this war to liberate, underline, liberate Bangladesh from Pakistan. And friends, then there is Bagdogra Air Base in West Bengal and Tezpur Air Base in Assam. Sukhois are deployed there as well. So before anyone even shouts, Rafales or Sukhois are already above their heads. And now comes the real nightmare for enemies, India's multi-layered air defense system led by none other than Russian-made S-400s. By 2025, India has activated S-400 regiments in the eastern sector. Anything flying within 400 kilometers, that is nearly 250 miles, aircrafts, drones, missiles, gets destroyed in the air, even at 30 kilometers altitude. For smaller threats, India's indigenous Akash air defense system is also deployed near Hashimara. Multiple targets, single command, simultaneous destruction. And finally, the weapon that even Pakistan's Prime Minister Shahbaz Sharif openly admitted fearing, BrahMos missiles. He openly said, if you are from Bangladesh, you can Google what Shahbaz Sharif said about BrahMos. If you don't believe what I am saying, he openly said, we were preparing to attack India, but India struck first with BrahMos and destroyed everything.
India again launched missile attacks, BrahMos, and hit Pakistan's airport in Rawalpindi and other places.
That memory alone is enough to haunt Bangladesh and China. So if anyone thinks of choking this corridor using air power, it is nothing short of a suicide mission for them. Hawkeyes at the border. Yes friends, there was one concern earlier. What if roads are blocked during war? How do we move soldiers, ammunition and food? That problem is partially resolved now through the Sivok-Rangpo railway line. This line connects Sikkim with West Bengal through long mountain tunnels. In wartime, this will be a complete game changer for troop movement. And what about surveillance? It's not just soldiers and missiles. Indian satellites are constantly watching this region. Especially this region is being closely monitored. Even the slightest movement near Siliguri reaches command centers within seconds. On top of that, Israeli-made Heron drones operate 24/7 here. So before an enemy can cross, the Indian army already knows it. So friends, what was once mocked as the chicken snack has now become India's Cobra Hood. Touch it and it will strike back immediately. No matter how much chaos erupts in Dhaka or how many tricks China plays, India of 2025 stands firm, chest out, ready to defend its northeast. The label of weak point is gone. That is why our COAS General Upendra Dwivedi visited there and said, this is not our weakest point anymore, this is our strongest defense corridor, he said. This is now a full-scale military fortress. Now friends, what do you think on this? Tell us in the comments. And for more deep analysis like this, keep watching Lookk. Thank you so much. Let's meet again. Please don't forget to subscribe to our channel. Namaste.